Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and maybe your social media marketing too. Who knows? But after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And welcome, Craig Bogardus. How are you?
I am so happy to be here. This is awesome.
And so could you tell my audience what kind of business you have and what you do?
I'm in a very relevant business these days. I'm all about energy efficiency, starting from residential homes as well as commercial businesses, commercial buildings and municipalities. I really run the gamut from upgrading or reducing the load, I should say, of electrical bills for residential as well as commercial buildings, bringing them through all the various utility incentives that are out there that capture money to provide these projects, either be a lighting upgrade to from fluorescent to LED lighting, to heat pumps in residential homes to get people off of oil heat, which is a killer these days, or actually look at even propane or even staying with oil on higher efficiency oil burners. And then after we reduce the load or the appetite for electricity or oil on these homes and commercial businesses, then we can top it off with solar energy, which is a real ring these days, both on residential and commercial buildings.
And my question to you is, there's so many people out there that do what you do. What separates you from the others?
Well, I guess it's all about myself, I guess. I mean, it's all about me being trusted by my customer. There's a lot of people out here doing various things, some perhaps not so much in the best interest of their customer. I've seen it. I've been in it for 15 years. So maybe it's just me and the expertise that I've got and the willingness to, service the customer after the project has been completed and everything has been and paid. So that's really the difference.
That's awesome. And, you're in business and, a lot of the stuff you do, you're in the daily grind of always trying to, build your pipeline and, get new customers. Where do you find your customers? Who are people that you are looking for?
I'm looking for a whole host of customers. I'm looking for a warm referral through networking groups, through building relationships with parallel industries, like with roofing companies for solar energy, heating and air conditioning people that walk into buildings, recognize the need on a residential side and a commercial side that the lighting needs to be upgraded. And then social media, as well as just taking a look at the marketplace, knowing where new buildings are going up and where other buildings are being retrofitted also, and changes of ownership. So there's all kinds of way to figure out who to call on and how to unravel business.
That's awesome. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, because a lot of the people listening to this podcast right now also are maybe thinking of, going to work for somebody and doing sales, or they are in corporate and they're thinking of switching out. Whatever the case may be, what would you say is the biggest challenge of owning your own business or always having to network, to get business? What do you think is the biggest challenge in owning your own business?
Well, I think the biggest challenge in my energy business is, as you mentioned, that there are so many people that are in this business already and have been for many years. It does take a while to introduce yourself to people. People know you're new to the business. They kind of perhaps shy away from you. But the build of trust and easiness about them using your service is the biggest challenge.
Right. I can see that, but the bottom line is I think, and I wanted to actually talk about this a little bit here, is that what I feel a lot of the service businesses in your industry and in other industries are really lacking is customer service. And I think even today across the board, customer service is really lacking. How do you and your company stand on customer service?
Well, I am your customer service rep, frankly. So your first move, if you have a problem with your solar system or your lighting, we just changed out for you, is having issues. You pick the phone up, you call Craig Bogardus, and we'll get on it right away. I'll get the right people in the door to take care of whatever issues you've got.
Right. So you mean I don't have to dial a 1 for this and wait 30 minutes and then dial 2 for this and wait another 30 minutes? I can contact you directly.
I was set up. It's very easy.
That's amazing. I don't know if you've experienced that kind of customer service, but it's pretty interesting in itself. So, have you?
Yeah, I have experienced customer service just the other day, where I was on the phone for about 2 hours, and it's painstaking. It's very difficult. I got it.
Yeah. So, the ease of that's amazing that you do that. My final question to you is this: if you had one piece of advice to give someone, maybe who's, a seasoned entrepreneur, or even somebody who's starting up, it's so kind of a universal piece of advice of your best advice that you can give them that will encourage them to move along in their business.
I just think the best way to move along your business is to meet people, get out there the old-fashioned way, do your social media, get your social media up and going. I get about 20% of my business on social media, but there's nothing like the old get out, go to networking groups, go to business groups, stick your hand out, meet somebody. You never know who's in the room or who's in the room that can know somebody and they have an aha moment, and perhaps they can refer you to people that have the needs and don't know which way to turn. It's kind of the old boy. It's very what's the word? Old school in many ways. It's a combination of old school and new school, which is the social media.
Right, but it is about building relationships, and to be honest with you, it is a lot more personable and easier, and that trust factor is so much better in person. So it is, old school is never old school when it comes to marketing. It really isn't. And, the bottom line is you can't hide behind your computer all day and say, well, just because I'm online means they'll come. You actually have to go out and get it. So.
Absolutely agreed. And that's probably the best thing you could be doing, is not being satisfied to just sit back and that you've made a connection, but to get that connection and try to find a way to actually meet that person. Nothing goes anywhere unless you meet them, typically.
That's absolutely sure. And you never know. Sometimes you may not be meeting your potential customer, okay? But that how you present yourself and how how friendly you are, and how that you're not really about the sale, but you're more about creating that relationship. You never know. literally, I was talking to somebody one day and they weren't going to hire me. And I knew that right away. But then the next thing I know, they sent me over a referral. And I was like, okay, see, so, nothing is lost out there. Just get out there. My advice too would be the same, is just to get out there and meet people.
Yeah.
So, Greg, I want to thank you for just doing this really short podcast with me. It was a lot of fun. If somebody is, in the business of wanting to save on energy and want to make their house more energy, energy proof, or however you would say that word, how would they get in touch with you?
My cell phone is area code 203-731-1771, and my simple generic email is C, last name Bogardus, Bogardus, the number 1 @gmail.com.
Great. And what I'll do is I'll put those links on the bottom of on the bottom of the podcast and everything else. And I really appreciate you coming on really quickly and doing this podcast with me. And I wish you all the luck in your business.
And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everybody. Until next week, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram @BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.